Hi, everybody. So nice to be here with you in this last month of 2024. So, I have a special segment for you this month. I want to talk about the concept of mirroring. And right before the holidays and crossing over into a new year, I really wanted to chat about the concept of mirroring. And I'll explain that in a minute. We'll dive in. Plus, I wanted to give you some really powerful suggestions to keep handy, just in case your family gatherings are a bit stressful or your work and your to-do list are extra long this month. So let's jump in. What is mirroring? There's actually two branches of mirroring. First is the literal. When you mirror someone's body language, their gestures, their attitude, and their speech, this kind of literal mirroring is often used to create connection, to create rapport. It creates sameness to your brain. And we are always picking up what are called micro impressions from each other. Those are just sort of silent, energetic. There's always that innate intelligence within you, your subconscious mind. It's always listening, and you've got a part of your brain we call the critical factor that's always associating data. So as we take you in, whoever's in front of us, people around us, as we take that data in, it's actually being weighed against all of our memories, so that we know how to respond. The subconscious mind is going to know friend or tiger. And so as we mirror another, it starts to create a connection. It starts to slowly build rapport. And so when you get together with groups or with family or with friends or with work colleagues at office parties, if you tend to be more quiet, more of an introvert, or feel a little self-conscious or a little uncomfortable in busy get-togethers and settings, you can use this technique of mirroring to ease yourself into creating connection with other people. So, for example, if someone stands with their hands clasped in their lap, you can, or rather say they sit with their hands clasped in their lap, or they stand and their hands are just crossed over each other in front of their abdomen, you can do the same. You can sit with your hands clasped in your lap, or you can stand with your hands in front of your abdomen. When someone speaks with a softer tone, you can speak with a softer tone and mirror that. When someone's body language is clear that they like personal space, some people like to speak really close, especially in loud settings. Other people will tell you where their comfort zone is because they'll move back. They'll take a step back and they'll prefer to watch you and listen versus have you so close they can't see you. You can mirror that. It creates an environment that says, we're alike. There's comfort here. And the interesting thing and kind of beautiful thing is that it doesn't take a long time to actually create a connection between people. So if you try it, what you'll start to see is the other person's body language starts to soften. Maybe they smile a little. Maybe they make direct eye contact and hold it a little longer. They let you know that this is comfortable for them. So that's what you're doing. In essence, you're creating that comfortable environment for them and therefore for yourself. But I want to talk about the other branch of mirroring because this is the one that starts to get complicated and misconstrued. And the other branch of mirroring is more innate. It's internal. And this has been kind of mixed up in spirituality, in my opinion. This form of mirroring, it's actually a belief. And maybe you've heard this before. Belief that others' behavior is about us, not them. And I really want to challenge that. Mirroring is the concept that what others do, that you have a reaction to, actually lives inside of you. Therefore, what bothers you, you should be checking within yourself. So, for example, and this is very nuanced, so stay with me. So, for example, someone constantly makes you wrong whenever you bring up your feelings around something. Let's just use that as an example. In mirroring, in the old belief, it would say, well, there must be a part of you that feels responsible or guilty for them to behave this way around you. In other words, they're mirroring on the outside what is occurring for you on the inside. And I disagree with that wholeheartedly. To me, that doesn't feel accurate, and it can also be kind of damaging and tone deaf by making you responsible for other people's behaviors. Now, in society, we have been so conditioned to look outside of ourselves for our worth, for our value. Do something, get something. Be a good girl. Behave properly. Receive love. Receive credit. Receive accomplishment. So, or with boys, man up. Don't cry. Behave a certain way, model a certain behavior, expect something in return. You will get respected. So we learn things in a way that actually doesn't make the other person respect you or love you or fill in the blank 24/7. Now you might learn that if I behave a certain way, I get something back. And it's all unconscious. It sounds manipulative, but it's all unconscious. However, what if that someone is having a bad day of their own and you do something and they don't really see it, they don't really hear it, they can't give you what you need? Well, now we're in a mess. So we are so conditioned to outsource our love and our value. However, mirroring says, if someone behaves in a certain way, then you must have that within you, and that's why it's bothering you. That has over time been turned into, how am I responsible for that? But you aren't, right? In that scenario, when someone refuses to validate your feelings, if you want to speak about your feelings and they get defensive and they turn that around and they get angry so that they are right and you are wrong. So when someone refuses to validate your feelings in order for them to be right, needing to make you wrong, that's not about what you look at internally for you. That's speaking volumes about their lack of self-work. No judgment, unconscious, keep that in mind. But they haven't learned how to be able to listen without feeling attacked and to not take it personally, but rather hear it as an opening for dialogue. That requires emotional maturity. That requires emotional regulation versus self-defense. Where spirituality really complicates things is in merging the two concepts together, the concept of energy matching and mirroring, and they are not the same concept. There's a big difference between the two. Energy matching is when we're in a circumstance and we ponder why. Hear the word, ponder, not judge, ponder. Why? This might be present for us. Why is this happening this way for me? So my partner reacts this way anytime I want to talk about how I feel. He or she gets defensive. And rather than listen and respond from a heart-centered space, they respond with defensiveness. How is this an energy match for me right now? Notice, match does not equate to responsibility. You are never responsible for another person's behavior, ever. But you can investigate what you've been telling yourself about your relationship, what your beliefs are, if you feel more positive about it, or if you've built up more negative beliefs that would help create that dynamic. That does not mean you are responsible for their behavior. Mirroring doesn't open to contemplation, and that's the issue that I have with it. Mirroring says you are responsible for every hurtful action or rude thing someone else does. It makes you question your worth and compound very unnecessary self-doubt. When someone behaves poorly around you, it's indicative of their own past wounding, their own pain. You can hear it and see it. Their own insecurity. And that was never your burden to carry. But if you're both trying to heal self-esteem programming from the past, it makes it the perfect experience for you to see your reaction to them, and that is all yours. How you respond is all about you. How they behave is all about them. So you can literally witness your life from the lens of personal power, which is I get to feel how I want to feel about myself, no matter where I am, no matter who I'm with, no matter how they're feeling, no matter how they're behaving, no matter how people in the grocery store are behaving, no matter how my partner is behaving that day. I get to feel about myself how I choose to, how I want to. And that takes work. Because when we are aligned, right, we have to learn. I get to learn emotional maturity and resilience. Then in that alignment, I can have compassion for someone who isn't behaving well, while not making it at all about my worth or my value. Nothing that happens in life is ever about your personal value. I can't say that enough times, but we have been conditioned to believe that since we were small. And we didn't have the resources to deal with things. And so it felt very personal. Or parents, guardians, teachers, authority figures, they made it personal because they hadn't done their work. So you had a critical parent that said, why can't you, ... Can't you see you are ... So we grow up still responding in a very childlike way. Again, all unconscious. That child who believes something is wrong with them is now actively being defensive when you want to talk about your feelings. But their wounds aren't yours to heal. But if their wounding triggers yours, you can absolutely do something about healing yours. That's understanding the energetic match going on. And that is very different from accepting responsibility of all the circumstances that mirroring indicates. When you do that, understanding the energetic match going on, healing your own wounds, you start to model something very, very different. You start to model what I call not picking it up. Someone can respond in a negative way and you simply don't pick it up. You can have compassion for other people, but not fix them, not take responsibility for them, not save them. And on the opposite scale, not shut down, not feel gaslit. You can learn to maintain your own alignment, taking responsibility for yourself. And that's when something really magical starts to happen, when you do that. Two things start to happen. First, you feel a whole lot better no matter who you're around, because you get to manage you. And you get to learn tools to manage you if you notice that you're being triggered. So that has nothing to do with anyone else, and therefore you can never be powerless, ever. Because you can't control the outside world. You can't control what everybody says and does around you, but you certainly can manage you. And second, what you'll start to notice if you practice, that over time people start to calibrate to you. You start to become the dominant frequency in the room, and it feels really good. And so what happens? Their behavior starts to change. Not because you tried to make them change their behavior, but because you managed your own alignment. That's also energetic matching. It's just you managing you, and that feels so liberating and so freeing and so good that it starts to influence others to model it, not for you, for them, for themselves. They want that feeling. They want that strength. They want what looks like, how are you managing? Even though everything outside of you is crazy, how are you managing? You start to do your own work and model that, and they calibrate to it. This is the truth. This is actually the real truth, in my opinion, behind personal development, all personal development. It's you managing you so well that everything around you calibrates to that same frequency of joy and of happiness and of peace. I think that's the most important work we can be doing ever in our lifetime. But this month specifically, going into the holidays and all the things that the holidays mean. For some people, it's a really busy, stressful time. For other people, it's a lonely, sad time. For other people, they're really trying their best. Some people don't celebrate at all. Some people do celebrate, but they feel overwhelmed with how much they have to do on top of what was already a very busy life. If you have a job, if you have kids, if you have to go to this party and this dance recital and this Christmas pageant and all of these things. So we need tools. We need to be able to manage ourselves. We need to learn to not pick it up when something around us is happening and not take responsibility for it. We need to learn how to respond in a way that we can be compassionate, not take responsibility for others, but take full responsibility for ourselves and stay out of the dynamic of blame and defensiveness and wanting someone else to change. And one of the best ways to maintain that, in my opinion, is you've got to learn how to deal with your subconscious mind. If you think of your subconscious mind as this, it is this infinite intelligence, it is this infinite power, but it has zero direction. Its only job is to take what's impressed upon it and carry it out. You're perfectly built, but you don't know it, right? You have your conscious thinking mind, and that's as far as we really got. So everything must be because I see it, so show me the evidence of it, and then I'll believe it. It doesn't work like that. It's the reverse of that. My conscious thinking mind is only going to tell me what I believe to be true, which actually, most of the time, is questionable. But if I don't have a relationship with my subconscious mind, if I'm not instructing it every single day, then I feel like I'm being blown around in the wind by anything that's coming at me that shows up as evidence in the world. Small microcosm, large macrocosm. In my life, with my partner, in my small sphere, or in the world. But when you align that subconscious and conscious, and then you leave room for superconscious mind, then you've got resources, and you've got power, and you've got responsibility, and you've got freedom, and you've got understanding, and you've got tools, and you've got personal power. And that becomes an extraordinary way to live your life. That's when people start to say, you always seem happy. How do things keep working out for you? Why do you seem to just have the right intuition at the right time? Why doesn't that bother you when this happens or this happens? How do you manage yourself? Why do you seem so healthy? It's your work. And there's a path to doing that work. There's an understanding, and it's in that alignment of those three, conscious, subconscious, and superconscious mind. So I want to leave you with a few things that I wrote specifically for this month. Read them. Read them to yourself. If you can, take 3 deep breaths. Close your eyes. Let your body shift out of stress and into resources, into parasympathetic drive. And then open your eyes and read them slowly, with conviction. Mean them. Feel that in your gut when you say them. Do it last thing at night, because science has shown the last thing that you read or think about before you go to sleep, you wake up and step into the next day. So be intentional about it. Start to create a relationship with you, because with that, there isn't anywhere that you can't go. So what I want to share with you is, there are 5 that I've written. And the first is, the innate intelligence within me knows the perfect path for me and orchestrates all the pieces in the most effortless, peaceful, and joyful way. What does that feel like to live like that? The next, I am always under direct inspiration. I make right decisions quickly and easily for myself. The third, I can enjoy being around others while maintaining my own peaceful and powerful alignment. The fourth, every day, my infinite intelligence opens the way for the divine plan of my life to manifest. This perfect plan includes health, wealth, love, and perfect self-expression. And the last, I now am an irresistible magnet for all that is truly mine from infinite intelligence. you start to read those 10 minutes before you go to sleep, 10 minutes when you wake up the next morning, you're going to start to change your life. Use them. Start to program your subconscious mind. Remember that you have infinite power within you, but it's waiting for direction. You have to learn how to direct it. And with that, I wish you the most blessed holidays if you celebrate, no matter if your home is full or if you will be enjoying some quiet time, self-care time. I wish you every happiness and all of the universe's blessings. Thank you for this magical time that we spend together. And if you're seeing this video but you're not on my mailing list, I encourage you to sign up to stay in touch with me. You can find that at megadamsonhypnotherapy.com. So www.megadamson, hypnotherapy.com. When you do that, you will also receive a free download for stress, absolutely free from the moment you sign up. And if you love having these kinds of conversations, this kind of content, I'm going to be diving so deeply into all of this, plus the tools, plus the resources, plus the practice, the understanding and the alignment, which creates those breakthroughs, creates that whole new identity. Starting January 4th in a new program I'm offering called Identity and Manifestation Work. If you have any questions, just reach out to me. And if I can ever help you, if you've got things that you want to heal from your past, just reach out. Send me an email through my website. I'm here. Happy, happy holidays. Blessings. Bye for now.